Well, good evening, everybody. Welcome to Monday Night Live in Lexington. My name is Kathryn Kauffman, and I'm a psychic medium here in Lexington, Kentucky. And this is my every Monday night live show. Hey to Instagram and hey to both pages of my Facebook. I'm going to talk about just some random stuff until you guys get your notifications and get on. Hey to Melissa Begley and Georgia Dixie Irvin. Hi, you guys. Thanks for joining me tonight. And shout out to Bud Smith and Chassie Ramirez. Thanks for joining. So this evening, we're going to talk about protective wards or home wards. Any person who has any psychic ability or any type of sensitivity, this is information you absolutely need. Shout out to Bill August and Ashley Sally Hart. Thanks for joining tonight. And Kathy Harden and Jason Musgrave. Andy, April Clinton. Hey, Clinton, congratulations on the Best Actor for Wicked World for 2017. Woohoo! Awesome, awesome, awesome. Hey to Paige Denise, Cynthia Lynch Carlson, Tammy Simon Campbell, and yes, Georgia, I will post that for you. And Yasmin Jadoon and Gail Riding. Hey, a special shout out to Miss Linda Tipton, my friend from decades and decades, probably past lives and everything. Any of you guys that are in the Frankfort, Shelbyville, or Louisville area, her shop is the shop to go to for gemstones or any kind of magical supply, readings, whatever you need. Mrs. Tipton has it. And the name of the shop is Moonstruck. So you need to get out there and patronize. She's got a wonderful shop there. Candles, supplies, whatever you need. Hey to Sammy, and let's see who else. Bob Norris is joining, and Ruby. Gosh, Ruby, I hope you're feeling better. And also Tammy Simon Campbell, Heather Horn, and yes, Cynthia, the name of the shop is Moonstruck. It's the #1 magical shop in Louisville. Hey to Ashley Radcliffe and Jennifer Hickerson. Thanks for joining. So you guys that are of psychic ability, maybe you have a little bit of intuition, or you consider yourself a sensitive, this is an absolute must for information right here. What is a ward? First of all, do any of you have any idea of what a ward is, or what does a ward mean? So just shout out in the comments section. Hey to Leslie Lang. And any of you that have any questions throughout the broadcast, just put them in the comments. I do answer every single question in the comments section. There are 2 pages, 2 live streams going, one on my professional page and one on my personal page and then Instagram. I will be able to see the comments only on my personal page on Facebook, which is just plain old Kathryn Kauffman. If you're tuned into the professional page, I still will get to your comments. Don't worry about it. Just go ahead and type your comment or question in. I will get to it. It just may be after the show or tomorrow morning. So let's see. Hey to Kimberly Preston, Alicia Benson, and Sheila Arthur. So let's go over what a ward is. And these things are most often used by magical practitioners or metaphysical practitioners. Why? Because we deal with energy. Okay? We deal with things that are unseen. We deal with the energetic background to things. And so a ward and its attributes and its actions, these are all energetic things. And so people who deal in the physical or in the physical realm and deal with tactile things really are not connected with the metaphysical, energetic, or magical background of items that we incur on a daily basis. Shout out to Danny Adams. Hey, down to Savannah, Georgia. And Danny, thanks for tuning in tonight. Glad to see you. So, wards. This can be an object with some kind of energetic imprint that's anchored to it. Now, a ward can be like a permanent object, or it can be a portable object or something that's transportable. If it's a permanent object, the metaphysical practitioner will imprint the objective or instruction into the permanent object. So to ward or a ward simply means to guard or protect. It's a state of protection. It's a state of preventing. It's a sanctioned or separate thing. Like if you were to say the ward of a hospital, that's a sanctioned or separate place. Now, it can also be directional, because if you think about the term eastward, northward, ward indicates the section of the energy that's traveling in that particular area. So it's kind of divisional or district related. We even have, like in Kentucky, we will say counties, but in several states in the South, we're gonna say a ward is a district in that state. I think, yeah, it's down south that they do the wards, and specifically Louisiana has wards. If you remember back to the hurricane and all the wards that were sectioned off, and we were watching the hurricane and its progress through the wards in New Orleans and Louisiana. So what do wards do for us as metaphysical or magical practitioners? Well, for one thing, and this is extremely important in the case of if you have any mediumistic tendencies, a ward can filter background psychic noise at night specifically. Let me check for questions real quick. Hey to Veronica, and yes, just this will be, I'll save the video so you can go back and watch it again if you want tomorrow. And also, don't forget, you guys, I always upload these episodes to my YouTube channel under the playlist, Facebook Live on Monday nights. You can go back and watch any episode you want. And the episodes that I do upload onto YouTube are edited with some special effects for your fun and entertainment pleasure. So, okay, back to what do wards do. So, number one, for mediums, they do filter any kind of background noise, psychic noise. And what it does, it allows a comfortable environment for the medium to live within. So this is something that you would want to do around your living space to make it a really comfortable environment to exist in. You don't want a lot of psychic static, is what I call it. Now, wards can prevent certain types of energy from entering while allowing other types of energy in through the barrier. So it is, you can have this was what we call a permeable ward. For instance, let me give you an example. Let's say you want to filter out or keep out any type of entity that's negative from your environment. But however, you want to allow entities from your family or your spirit guides or guardians access to you in your dreams, because that's one of the major ways that they communicate with you. So you would need not an impenetrable ward, but a permeable ward. So the ward would be an item or some kind of object or a part of your home that you can imprint magical or metaphysical instructions energetically into it to energetically program the area, basically. So we definitely would like to have a permeable ward. It's not an easy task to make one. To make an impenetrable ward can be quite easy, but a permeable one is a little bit more complex. But like I said, you definitely want the access of your guardians, your guides, your angels, whatever you're working with. You want them to have access to you. So hey to Sandra Buchanan Clemens and Jan Frederick. Nice to see you guys this evening. Thanks for joining me. So other wards that can be made, and there's a myriad of things. We're just going to kind of scratch the surface this evening. But other wards that can be made, they can redirect energy. They can reflect energy back. They can even transmute energy into a different substance. But all of these things have to be programmed. Instructions. Wards are simply magical instructions that are instilled, engraved into an item for the purpose of some type of protection. So another thing that wards can do is they can absorb, like if there's a negative force that's coming at you, let's say in your dreams, and you're totally unaware of it, your ward can actually absorb and disperse that energy, but the instructions have to be instilled in the item with what it has to do. And so that would be like a set of really good instructions to give, is to absorb whatever's coming at you and disperse whatever energy is there. So you have to look at what kind of structure do you want from your ward. Do you want it multi-layered? Do you want it interlocking? Do you want a really strong perimeter? Do you want the strong perimeter to only be activated under certain circumstances, like advance of a negative entity, or maybe even a curse or a hex that is coming your way from somebody who wishes you ill, or all of the above? To be a medium and to do the work that I do, my home has to be completely warded. So we do have metaphysical wards over each and every window and doorway. So where you're looking at it, where is the energy coming into your home, the windows and doors? Where does the energy leave your home? When you come and go, you are coming and going through a doorway. And that energy imprint of going in and coming out, the energy is through that doorway. So that's the main energy intersection of your home. And that is the main place that has to be protected. So, hey to Brandy Wine, thanks for joining me tonight. Let me make sure there's no questions. So Sandra has a question, is a grid a ward? It can be. If you put instructions into the grid on what specifically the grid is supposed to do. Now, if you just put a plain, simple instruction into the grid that it's supposed to protect, you need to look at, you know, what are your specific instructions for this grid energetically? Are you protecting from everything? Are you protecting only from negative entities? Are you protecting just from like psychic attack? So we need to be extremely specific about the instructions that we are instilling into grids. And I will do another video on how to set up a grid. And you know, doing a protective ward grid probably will be part 2 of this series. This is the first part in the series right here. And hey to Debbie Lemming. So now grids are interlocking. To grid a home basically is to either take crystals or apophyllite or selenite, and you're going to program those gemstones for a specific protective purpose. And then you will put them in key points in the home, like let's say all 4 corners. And then visually, you are going to metaphysically and energetically connect all of those points with the energy of the mind from one to the other, creating a web or a grid that seals the property or the living space off and creates that protective barrier. To ward is kind of complex and it's a lot more involved, but I think that wards do a much better job at just a plain grid. So let's make sure there's no other questions. So hey to Deborah Hicks. And so Georgia has a question. Do you have to recharge or redo your wards like crystals? Yes. Any energy that you set into place is going to be very strong when you first put it out. Okay. All energy attenuates with time. If you're doing a cleansing, if you're placing a grid or you're placing a ward, that energy will attenuate. And attenuation simply means it will weaken or degrade. Everything kind of degrades over time. So you're going to have to take the wards down and re-energize them periodically. And so what I usually suggest my people do is to really be sensitive to the energy around your home. And when you start to feel like things are invasive and things are coming in, you can pretty well say that your energy on your wards has attenuated and that you need to redo them. So the wards that we have put up in my home are made out of selenite. And I don't have a piece of selenite here to show you, but it's a real kind of glowy white type of gemstone, and it radiates like pure white light. And so those in my home have to be taken down once a year and re-energized. And then we have to do like a whole home cleansing and then to place those back into their positions over the windows and doors. So let's see, there's other questions here. So Sandra says, so with certain stones set that intention, the stones that do specific jobs? Yes, absolutely. You could use specific stones. I find for gridding, not necessarily wards, but for gridding, Sandra, I do like to use apophyllite or quartz crystal. Only because apophyllite and quartz crystal are so very highly programmable, and they hold the energetic imprint a whole lot longer than other stones. I was going to see if I had a piece of apophyllite here to show you. I do have some quartz crystal here I can show you. I thought I had some apophyllite, but I don't see it now. But these are some pieces of quartz crystal that I dug probably 25 years ago from Hot Springs, Arkansas. And so all you would need to do is to hold the crystal. I like to hold it in between both hands like this. That way it's getting energy from both hemispheres. And I like to say a prayer of protection over it. And for those of you who don't know or not familiar with prayers of protection, if you want a sample one, all you have to do is message me here on Facebook and I will send you a sample prayer protection. But you're going to do that prayer protection while that is in between both hands, and that is going to instill the imprint, energetic imprint, into that quartz crystal. And then it's good to go until that energy attenuates. And here's another sample of one that I dug 25 years ago from Hot Springs, Arkansas. Now, the special thing about these crystals is that they've never had any type of acid on them. I only cleaned them with a toothbrush and Dawn dishwashing liquid. Most crystals that you get commercially are going to be treated with some type of acid to remove any particles or any iron that might be sticking to them. But these are purely natural. They've never had any chemical on them. So I feel like the energy of these is so much better than something else that you might get, you know, commercially. But not to say, I mean, those crystals are fine that you get commercially. I'm looking at some more crystals right here because I wanted to show you, yes, this is an apophyllite that I used for crystal grids for warding homes. And you can see most apophyllites are flat on the bottom, where they come in clusters. And so there's a small matrix, and then they will end up in a point. And these are perfect for sitting in the corner, in the corners of the home, to create a grid. And this is one of the favorite stones that a good friend of mine who's recently passed on, Mr. Tom Benedict, taught how to grid a home with the apophyllite stone. So those of you that knew Tom Benedict, give me some hearts and love for Tom wherever he is right now, because we miss him. So this is a really good stone to use. So hey to Amber and Tom Driver. Yes, and William Thompson. Hey to John Philip Young and Becca McCarty, Robin Tucker, Dana Estes, and Autumn Law. Thanks for joining me tonight. So let's see. Let's get back to our structure here. So there are several other different types of wards. I know we're going to run out of time, but seals. Have you ever heard of Solomon seals? Okay. Seals are extremely good as a protective shield. The only problem is a seal will control energy totally, right? It's going to keep energy in. So one really, really important thing to do is if you're going to use seals, you really need to do a complete cleansing before you use a seal, because if you don't, you could seal something bad inside your property, because once the seal is up, everything inside is protected from getting out and things getting in. So if you sealed something up inside your property, that's not good, because you're going to have a heck of a time getting rid of it. Now, I have had this happen to me before, and so like if we're going to do a cleansing at a home and there is a very intelligent entity there, it will go into either a statue or a doll or an animal. Let's say you're a homeowner, you're going to get a cleansing, and you want to take your dogs off the property for the evening because they're noisy. So that entity knows that we're coming to do a cleansing. All it has to do is attach to one of the animals. They're being removed from the property. They go stay with grandma or whatever for 6 hours and then come back after the cleansing is over. And so what I found is a lot of entities will piggyback onto kids or dogs or cats when they're removed and then come right back in once the cleansing is over, unless at the end of the cleansing you place a protective ward on the property. So let me check for questions really quick. Hey to Diana Estes. Thanks for joining me tonight. And Rebecca Smith. So I always, and it's really important, leave the animals on the property. Let the kids stay in the apartment or in the home, because it is really important that every single thing there is cleansed under that one procedure that you're doing, to make sure you don't get something that's piggybacking onto an item or a child or a dog or a cat, and then is allowed to come back in. And it could come back in if you do not have a metaphysical ward in place to prevent that. So there you've done this whole procedure on cleansing your home, and it's to no avail if you do not have a ward in place to prevent that energy from coming back in. So carriers that can take this energy out and bring it back in are the following. Any type of hollow vessel, so there'd be a statue with a hollow inside, dolls, children's energy, pets, any type of pet. These are all carriers that can take that energy out and then bring it back in. So you need to really have that ward in place. I like to use the selenite simply because the energy projects outward, and that is, it pushes against any kind of negative energy that's trying to come in. So I love selenite, but you can certainly use your apophyllite or your quartz crystal. So you're going to create a strong perimeter with these items. And like I said, if you use a seal, please make sure you do a cleansing first before you create your seal. There's a lot of different sites on the internet that you can look up how to make a ward or instructions to instill into a ward. But not only that, you need to be aware of feng shui and the way that energy travels in your living space. So what I would do is study a little bit of feng shui first, because the wards need to be placed at the most high traffic areas of your home, where people are coming and going, where the energy is entering and leaving the property. So study a little bit about feng shui first, so that you know the maximal points to put your home wards up. Okay. Now we're almost out of time. We've only got a couple minutes left. So if any of you guys have a question, just dial it up right now. Just type it in. Hey to Kathleen McCauley, and hey to Ken Boggle. Nice to see you, guy. So Rebecca has a question. How about people with negative attachments? Will they carry, let's see, will they carry negative energy back in with them? Yes, they will. Now, if you put a strong enough ward up, they may feel too uncomfortable to come back in. They may not stay very long at all. And you can specifically design your ward not to let any attachments unleash themselves within the property or within the home. But see, these are all instructions that you have to instill into that ward. Now, let's find out what's for dinner, David.
We're going to have some homemade Thai again tonight, a Kananga Par curry. We've never had this before. So it's going to be fun. We're going to use pork for it. There's carrots in it, red bell pepper, green that she brought home from Dongyang that we have no idea what it is.
I don't know what it is, but we're going to use it.
And mushrooms. And this place smells like jasmine rice. It's cooked, it's soft, it's delicious.
Does. So thank you, dear.
You're welcome.
All right, you guys. I'm going to hop off of here and eat. And I will be back, though, at 9 o'clock on the Nappin Show. And so if you want to get on the Nappin Show, go to Play Store, download the Tiny Chat mobile application. It's free, and then make a login, make a sign in, and once you sign in, it will ask you what chat room you want to open up. Just type in NAPPN, hit enter, and you can join me at 9 for the live chat, because I'm going to show a lot of different really cool gemstones at 9. I'm going to talk about more about wards and using these gemstones too, and like what all are they used for. So now next week we're going to go over here, part 2 of home wards. What we're going to go over are more about home shields, how to specifically charge an item, okay, how to exactly ward your house. We're going to go through that step by step, so you're going to want to take notes, okay. The use of charms, we're going to go over that. This may be a 3-part series, because I want to go over charms, amulets and talismans, how to use your visualization, what are sigils, how to use those, and then in general how to work with this energy and get it in that protective mode. So Rebecca has a question. How about people, oh yeah, I answered that one. The negative attachments coming back in. My feed is just going crazy here. Hey to Greta and Heather. And let's see if there's any more questions. Greta says it's amazing that I can get my spouse to cook. Thank God, Greta. He loves to cook. He loves to cook. A special shout out to Melissa Begley and her sidekick, Miss Cleo, 2 of my favorite girls in the whole world. And a special shout out to an old friend, Janet Kofer. Nice to see you, girl.
Hi, Janet.
And David says hi to Janet, too. So you guys tune in at 9 after dinner for gemstones and what they're used for. And I'm just going to bring out some of my big specimens here. And if you're interested in more about home wards for next week, I'm going to go over part 2, and there'll probably be a part 3, depending on if we can get through all the material for next week. So, kisses from Kentucky, and I will see you guys next Monday. And for those of you that want gemstones, stay up with me here on Nappin'. See ya!